Hannah, it's so interesting. As more people get vaccinated, then it's like when you go in someplace, do you wear a mask? Do you not wear a mask? There are lots of etiquette rules now because you need to also be considerate of other people. And it's hard to know what to do sometimes.
Oh yeah, I've had these conversations with friends. You know, how do you handle that? What are you comfortable with? And I think that's what's really important, figuring that out and having the conversation. So we're finally on the other side of the pandemic, or we're getting there, but not everyone is comfortable, like we were saying, going maskless or getting together with family and friends quite yet. It's a spectrum. So we brought in Diane Gottsman with the Protocol School of Texas to answer questions about post-pandemic etiquette and how to handle certain situations. Good morning, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
You know, we're getting back to somewhat normal at work, so we had some of our GMT staff pose some questions. I want to start with Jane's question for you.
Okay, Diane, hi, nice to see you.
Hi, Jane. Nice
Good to see you. Okay, let's say I'm going to a party where I'm going to see friends I haven't seen for over a year. How do I greet them without offending anyone? Do I still do the knuckle bump, handshake, hug? What's the best thing to do? Because you don't want to appear standoffish, but you want to be considerate and respectful.
Exactly. And top 10 question. And, you know, I think for now, it's really important to just watch the other person's body language. You know, if you see them pulling back, we don't want to reach out for a hug and they are still trying to maintain a distance. So I think we are all understanding of everybody's different comfort levels. So don't be the first one to reach out. And in fact, if you don't want to hug yourself or handshake, just bring your hands back, you know, with a genuine smile, a happy face, a great tone of voice, and say, it's so good to see you, Jane, right now. You know, this is such an awkward time, and I'm still social distancing to a certain degree, but I'm so happy to see you. And that way, you're just honest. We're all honest, and I think that's the best we can do.
I think that's perfect, having the conversation. Okay, our next question we have is about a wedding. There's a lot of them right now.
Hey Diane, I got invited to a wedding and I'm not comfortable going unless I know that all the guests are vaccinated. Is it okay for me to ask the bride if she's limiting the guest list to vaccinated guests only?
Oh, this is a good one.
It is a good one, and I think it's okay. And I think it's the way that you ask the question. You know, you can say, and if it's a friend of yours, a close friend, family member, you can say, Caitlin, I just want to know, you know, what is your protocol? Are you checking to see if everyone's vaccinated, or are you not? And whatever they say, then you can base your decision. And if you decide that you're not going to go, you can say, I hope you understand, I'm going to hold off for now, just because it's my own personal, you know, it's my health concerns, but I'm going to see you soon. Let's get together. So again, you know, I think that you have every right to ask. I think that we just need to deliver that question in a kind, non-judgmental way versus a combative way.
Oh, that's really good. All right, let's hear the next question.
Hi, Diane. Okay, so here's my question. Is it rude if I wear a mask to a party where there's a lot of people not wearing a mask? My husband says it's going to make them feel uneasy, but honestly, I'm still really not comfortable about socializing in large crowds. So what do I do?
All right,
absolutely.
What do we do?
And I respect that, and I think that most people will understand and respect that. So, but if you are uncomfortable, and if you think you're going to feel uncomfortable, and you want to divert any issues moving forward, go ahead and ask the bride or the bride and groom, or whoever you know, the family member, and say, listen, you know, I know that most people aren't wearing masks. I still am wearing a mask. Do you think it's going to be all right? Will I make anyone else feel awkward if everyone is not wearing face coverings and I am? And I'm certain that they're going to say, you're fine. Do what makes you comfortable. And then you just go from there. So again, it's your comfort level, and you are setting your boundaries, and you're an advocate. We all have to be advocates for our own personal beliefs. So I think that we do what's best for us.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, and we've seen this in this process, we're all learning to be really good at communicating and setting those boundaries, which can be tough for people. All right, this next question I think is really good. If somebody asks me point blank, have you been vaccinated? I have been, but what do I say? But I know some people who have not, including my daughter, who is concerned it might affect her childbearing options. As a courtesy to my family, I would prefer to keep my private information private. This is a really good question, because normally people wouldn't ask me about my medical information. So when somebody asks, even if you haven't vaccinated, it can feel strange to answer that.
Exactly. And you know, sometimes people will say, I've been double vaccinated, because that's their way of showing you if you get on an elevator, let's say, or if you're handing somebody something, hand to hand. And that's one way of saying, I've done my part, but there are other people for all kinds of reasons who have not. And so I think when someone asks you point blank, if they're asking for the right reasons, much like, if you're attending a social event, you can answer them. Or in this case, this particular person, if she's uncomfortable sharing the information, you can say, I'm just keeping that information to ourselves. It's our private information. And if it's going to affect you in some way, I will understand. So again, you notice that my tone of voice, my facial expressions, my body language is open and accepting rather than defensive. So I think that that's really what we have to work on. We have to work on being proactive, but not being offensive. And sometimes we just have to draw the line. If we're going to get in if somebody is going to be combative with us, then we excuse ourselves from the conversation.
Yeah, sometimes just walk away is the best way to go. Last question, is it rude to ask if my hairstylist or babysitter have been vaccinated before I use them again?
You can ask. It's not wrong to ask. It shouldn't be, here's what I think. I don't think it should be the main topic of conversation every time you get together with someone, because it's much like politics, religion, these are hot topics. But when you are going to a vendor or a stylist, a massage therapist, if it's important to you and you want to know, by all means ask. And if they say no, and that's important to you, you then say, listen, it's not goodbye from now, but it's not goodbye forever, but for now, I'm going to take a pause and I'm going to see you on the other end of this one. I'm completely comfortable, in socializing.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for helping us navigate these what can be uncomfortable conversations.
Thank you for having me.